What up, y'all? We got some announcements. We've been announcing announcements all week. Welcome in, everybody. If you can hear me all right, let me know. Sometimes this mic likes to cut out randomly, so if that's happening, please message into the chat. I will fix it. We got 164 watching so far. Sounds good. Yeah, a lot of developments happening in the background, guys. I get contacted. Actually, today I got contacted by a dev looking for work. It's like the third or fourth time that's happened in the last 2 weeks. And so there's people are building on Pulse Chain, and they are actually actively seeking stuff to build. And, we're really excited today to unveil something that's been in the works for 10 months now on a broader, more infrastructure-wide, as an infrastructure-wide initiative. And just recently, within the last month or so, I was made aware of the project, and it came together quick, guys, but I think we have something really special to announce today. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I got with me in the back Yellow Cake and Fast Abdul, who are heading up the launch of the PRIME2PHUX protocol, which is a fork of Aura on Ethereum that has a massive TVL. Don't quote me on it. I think it's in the order of magnitude of hundreds of millions. And so we'll look at that, or they'll tell me exactly what that is in a minute. And this protocol, what it does is it socially aggregates voting power. And why that voting power matters in the first place is because that's how you basically incentivize people to go in and provide liquidity on certain pools and pairs to build up a nice base so that everything is really, really liquid on the chain. And the beauty of Aura Finance and now PRIME2PHUX is that it allows you to aggregate all of that voting power into consolidate it so that it's more focused and you can really drive market behavior. And so it's kind of like playing God a little bit on the market maker side of things, because you can, in the same way that incentive token is like a really good incentive to come into the liquidity pools on PLSX, PRIME2PHUX is also really, really good at doing that, probably better in some ways because it's got multiple of yield built into it. And we're going to dive into some of that today. So without further ado, I'm bringing up Crispy Man, my homie and my partner here, founder of hexfire.io, and Fast Abdul, the slickest guy in the Middle East.
Slickety slick.
And Yellow Cake, the brains behind the operation, and he is actively working with the devs. So if he gets quiet from time to time, it's only because he's working 24/7 around the clock to get this thing launched. So, welcome in, guys.
Welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good to see you guys.
Yeah. So maybe the good place to start would be what's going on with. First, just briefly explain what is PRIME2PHUX and what is PRIME2PHUX, and why should people care, and what's the opportunity at hand.
Okay, so we'll just backtrack a bit to look at the PHUX exchange that we're building on top of, which is a separate team, the PH team that did famous PHUX and Fiat. They've forked Balancer V2 for the Pulse chain, which is a huge deal. In my opinion, the most advanced form of DEX there is. You can pair up to 8 assets in one LP pair, and there's huge yield potential, right? So lots of interesting game theory connected to that. Now, PRIME2PHUX, as you mentioned, is a fork of Aura Finance. Aura was effectively a fork of Convex. These are some of the biggest protocols on the Pulse chain, working with things, on Ethereum, working with things like Curve Finance and with Balancer, right? So there's mega millions that we're talking about in regards to those for sure. It was the biggest missing piece on the Pulse chain when we were trying to decide what to build. And that's why we made that choice. So PRIME2PHUX has 2 primary responsibilities. The first is to give people boosted yield. And the number that is attached to that is up to 2.5 times what you might be able to achieve by yourself on the PHUX exchange. So, that's substantial. The other big thing is going to come into the voting aggregation, right? So it's going to increase your voting power on the PHUX exchange, which is a very interesting vote because you're only voting about one thing, which is money, which pool is going to pay the most yield to the people who are participating in it. So because that is so closely attached to money, those votes literally end up being worth money. And we have a secondary protocol that will come out about a month later called Bribery, where you actually be able to sell those votes for additional income. So happy to bring some new options to the table.
Can you hear me all right? I had to fix
Yep,
my...
you're good.
Cool. So that's also interesting and probably good for a whole other side discussion on how you monetize voting power in that way as another layer to this infrastructure layer, and it gives the user so many options. I'd love to go down that rabbit hole. For now, let's focus on what is the PRIME2PHUX pre-sale, and I'm going to bring up the page and explain like kind of the opportunity there. I know you did just kind of go over that on Crypto Sloth stream, but we will double down on it here and explain what's going on.
Let's hit it. Yeah, because PRIME2PHUX is a interesting and important token. So right now on the PHUX exchange, they have what they call the PRIME2PHUX token, which is actually a LP pair. It's a liquidity pair that contains 80% PHUX and 20% Pulse, and it's an actual token that's fungible. You can buy and sell it, and it's a core part of how the PHUX exchange works. Now with 2PHUX, we actually take that token, it gets wrapped into, and you get a receipt for it, which is called PRIME2PHUX. And it gives you many advantages. The PRIME2PHUX token, like the PRIME2PHUX token, can be staked, and they'll both pay really good yield. But with PRIME2PHUX, you're locked to get the most value. You're locked for a year all the time. Like that token is not liquid. You cannot unstake it. But the PRIME2PHUX token, which is your receipt for the PRIME2PHUX that's permanently locked in the 2PHUX protocol, that one is completely liquid. You can stake it for the yield, like substantial yield. Some of our, just sort of estimates put it at between 100 and 200%. That's not a guarantee, just, some numbers we're playing with.
Yeah, and could you explain how that's even possible that you could get sustainable 100% to 200% yield?
You bet. So with the PHUX exchange, you end up getting a boosted yield delivered to you if you have a whole bunch of PHUX basically locked in your wallet that you can't move because it's locked for a year. Now, for people that have hundreds of thousands of PHUX in their wallet that they can't move, then maybe they're getting that already, but most people won't. So with 2PHUX, we have all that PRIME2PHUX, a lot, and there's more coming all the time because it's how the protocol works. It keeps snowballing, getting bigger and bigger, locked in the protocol. And when you use our front end, it's like it was in your wallet. So you end up staking your LP tokens like you were a whale with 100 grand plus worth of PRIME2PHUX permanently locked. So, there's a huge advantage to the individual there. So when we talk about something like the PRIME2PHUX token, which has multiple facets, but the main facet is that it is a wrapped PRIME2PHUX token that typically pays between 60 and 100% by itself. So that's significant. But then on top of what that would pay, you're getting the boost, right? The potential 2.5 times because you're using the 2PHUX front end if you're doing LP. But if you're staking the token, you actually get a portion of the yield that the protocol pulls in as well. So the PRIME2PHUX token, it gets 20% of the yield that 2PHUX brings in. So you're paid that on top of what you would have also received if you were just staking a PRIME2PHUX token. So, and you're liquid, which is great because you're freeing up potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars for some people to be able to still get that yield, but be liquid, be able to unstake it. And there's going to be additional options too. There won't just be the single-sided staking option, which obviously is great. We all like single-sided staking, especially when there's no time lock. But there will also be a fantastic liquidity pool that pairs PRIME2PHUX against PRIME2PHUX. And because in the future, the cost to make one PRIME2PHUX is very close to just being one PRIME2PHUX, these things are effectively pegged to each other. And there's even an arbitrage point where if the price of PRIME2PHUX goes above the price of PRIME2PHUX, a person could mint it using PRIME2PHUX and then arbitrage that back into the market for profit or just to increase the amount of PRIME2PHUX they have by continuously converting until it was back to the peg. So I think there's a lot of game theory there.
Crispy, have you thought at all about how with 2PHUX we have and that setup on 2PHUX and PRIME2PHUX and how that is basically representing or reflecting the value of PRIME2PHUX, how 2PHUX could be the driver, the demand, price appreciation driver of this ecosystem, considering like how you could like lay out the voting power. Have you considered that at all, or do you have any commentary on that?
Well, obviously, whoever controls the most of those tokens, right, and locks them up, will get the majority of the vote. So I think that's just like a basic observation, right? I was just laughing to myself as we're talking, because how many times we could say "fucks" in the same sentence, you know? I mean, but the good old PRIME2PHUX. But yeah, I think that's what you're getting at. They're
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some. There's definitely things to observe. If without going too far into it, if anybody here that's listening does any chain analysis, you could go into the PRIME2PHUX sacrifice leaderboard, which completed I think 2 weeks ago, roughly.
Oh,
and you could go in there and you could dig around and you could see what kind of wallets sacrificed for PRIME2PHUX and what kind of holdings they have. You can go use DBank and you could do some chain analysis here and you could figure out and draw connections. And you know, incentive. So let me say this: there could be an opportunity here where incentives are aligned enough in such a way that that a lot of that voting power and that APR gets consolidated into a few pools that are just going to pay a substantial amount of yield.
yeah. I can read between the lines.
So, if I can chime in there too, Axis. Noteworthy too is that 100% of the voting power is in the hands of the PRIME2PHUX lockers, right? So as the protocol starts, we're already at over 29%, 29.5% of all the votes on PHUX.io, and that's growing. I haven't updated the number yet, but essentially that's 100% in control of the PRIME2PHUX holder lockers. So if these liquidity pools are going to do two things, they're going to create another use case for PRIME2PHUX, because as a governance token, we want the decisions to be in the hands of the holders. So there's the one aspect where you lock them up to vote for things where the emissions go, but then by participating in these pools, it does a couple of different things. It takes the PRIME2PHUX off the market, but what it does is or off the the locking burden. So essentially, the people that are locking, if there's only half as much PRIME2PHUX locked, it still controls 100% of the votes. So there's going to be gamification.
Interesting.
Multiple uses.
This is really good because it's proof of commitment. It's basically proving like the only way you're getting voting power and you can direct that energy somewhere is if you're locked into the ecosystem. That means that you're not dumping your coins and you're holding up the price. And for that privilege, you get to direct APR to the pools of your choice. So this is interesting, right? This whole concept of being committed, locked into the couple holding up the price. It seems like it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, and there's a couple different pieces on the move there, like you mentioned. The tokens, the bulk of the tokens are in the right kinds of hands right now. It's community founders and protocols that are wanting to use them to direct emissions towards their pools. But see, the PRIME2PHUX token as a governance token was not the end of it. There's things that can be built on top, and more use cases will come up for the PRIME2PHUX token. One of them being in these liquidity pools as a strategic play is that the pools that PRIME2PHUX has the ability to add extra incentive rewards onto certain pools. So what we're going to have is a requirement for PRIME2PHUX to be in the liquidity pools to qualify for this. What that does is it boosts the APR in those pools and provides rewards for people that are committed to the ecosystem. So the holders of the PRIME2PHUX tokens, the ones that are staking them and participating in liquidity pools, will be the ones that have the ability to benefit from the things that you should be able to from being vested in the protocol.
So it sounds like this technology is set up in such a way that to get the maximum amount of rewards, the admins or the founders are basically driving good behavior, which hexagon like that claims to be a pure hexagon, for example, you know, it's all about the best behavior, going long and being committed to your stake and sticking with the game, and then you get the most rewards. It seems like this is doing that too, but it's bootstrapping the liquidity component of the ecosystem, the chain, right?
Yeah,
And it's cool that it's got all the. I'll just double down and say, like, it's cool that you can have like 2 or 3 channels of revenue, and then in addition to those 2 or 3 channels of revenue, which I'd like you to talk a little bit about again, there's this 4th layer, which is you can help the user decide, hey, I'll lock even more PHUX to get this additional reward, which again holds up the price and continues this price positive loop. The way I see it.
Yeah, and as the protocol grows, again, the voting power grows, and the value of each token that a holder has, the perceived value grows, because you have the control over the growth in the protocol. So if the protocol size doubles, the PHUX tokens aren't doubling. You're just controlling more with those tokens. So that's it's a notable thing to start at.
Yeah, so they got a question here. Checks my pulse says, does PHUX help Pulse chain ecosystem, or am I taking away from just DCing into Pulse, PLSX, Hex, asking for a friend? I can take this on right up front. Like, dude, this is an infrastructure play. So this is like going into a city without good sewage and plumbing and electrical and good internet, and we're coming in there and we're installing the pipes so that you can put in 5G, signal, and you can get really good sanitary for your water system. Like this, the implications of PHUX coming online is it allows the liquidity providers the funding required to build out even more advanced liquidity pool setups, game theory, tokenomics, and mechanics inside of. And I know that's a very broad stroke what I just said, but it really is that big. And I'm starting to understand this too. My personal experience with the PHUX exchange has been very limited until a month ago, and I'm already starting to see 5 or 6 different forms of points of control on this. And so it just seems to me that there's a lot of opportunity and meat on the bone there for people to get involved. And in so doing, you're boosting the liquidity pools and you're creating more connections on all of these pools, so that with more liquidity, you get better order execution. That's definitely helping Pulse Chain. And if an ecosystem or a pool, what we're about to talk about in a little bit with a solid index, is successful enough, it can actually have the effect of pulling the chain up with it. It's a lofty goal, but it's not impossible. And we've seen that before with like the Tangang's coins. They're all mooning. Solid index coins have mooned. Atropa coins mooning. Even speculative stable coins that people thought was a joke, mooning. And all that stuff is lifting up the network and creating more surface area to play the game. And so, yeah, it's 100% good for the network. Crispy, hit him with it.
Hit him with what? Yeah, I think how this wear my Pulse Chain hat. Definitely good for Pulse Chain. We need more competition. We need more things happening and more innovation. So I like this for that reason. I'm getting into it. Yes, from my Hex Maxi side, no, I'm not. It's not my focus to be talking about what we're doing, but definitely Pulse Chain for sure. So yeah, I get the question. I kind of see how it was couched. I think maybe I understand the intent, but yeah.
I think it's important to note that all the tokens that you're talking about, all the RH tokens, Pulse, PulseX, Hex, they're all represented on the PHUX exchange, and will have boosted yield options for you with PHUX. So be that the maxi tokens that are paired together in pairs of 6 tokens that all are basically Hex in some really interesting plays there, or just PulseX and Pulse and Ink that have gauge pairs on the PHUX exchange as well, that you get boosted yield with PHUX. Like, so, to say that that's not connected to the Pulse chain, like, oh, it's super connected and it's going to make a big difference. This, like you said, Axis, this is a serious infrastructure layer when we're talking about the, the balancer layer with PHUX, and then the convex layer with PHUX. Like, these are signs of a mature chain that whales will look for when they come on board. PHUX will be the place where, in the long run, probably all the stable coins will live, the vast majority of them. And that it's just going to be a math thing in the end. Right now, it's, might be a competition thing or something, but in the end, that's just the best place. And when you're looking for boosted yield on stable coins, well, PHUX is going to be where you go. So, and where the stable coins go, money follows.
Yeah. And the reason you talk about the stable coins that way is because the unique ability to pair them all together, and it's a 1-to-1-to-1-to-1 with very little slippage. Is that your point?
Yes, and it's also
Yeah.
they have unique pools that are made for stable coins. So it's just one of the factors that makes that a healthy, important layer on the Pulse chain.
And nobody else probably cares about this but me, right? Or you guys. So you guys definitely care about. I care about this, but that's huge because I was just there's some other protocols are also doing some things like that. Trying to work on stable type stuff. Anyways, the point I was getting at is if you can capture a large enough amount of the what you would call the market, right, for the stablecoin LP, you actually drive traffic, based on that. So yeah, you could.
All right, we have a great question here. This was from Johnny Rocket. He says, so there was an initial sacrifice. He's referring to 2PHUX, but there's a PRIME2PHUX pre-mint. You need an explanation on this, like stat.
That's a good point, and I think we can clarify that the 2PHUX sacrifice has nothing to do with the PRIME2PHUX pre-mint. And I think now's a good time to go into what the PRIME2PHUX pre-mint is. So as I mentioned before, like PRIME2PHUX is wrapped PRIME2PHUX, and it's a receipt token for that, permanently locked in our ecosystem. You can get the yield. It basically has a price because we know the price of PRIME2PHUX. You can go to the Phux exchange and buy it right now. Now we have a special opportunity it's not a sacrifice. It's more of a wholesale offer where we're offering our users the chance to get up to 30% off the price via the pre-mint by sending Pulse. We've made an arrangement that makes this possible, and it only lasts until Friday. And then that's it. After that, you can still get as much PRIME2PHUX as you want, but you need to mint it using PRIME2PHUX at about a 1-to-1 ratio. So this is the chance to get in for up to 30% off. And for the big guys, almost more importantly, without huge slippage. So there's if you have $1 billion Pulse and you want to put this in and you're going to get 30% off, and then you're not going to pay 30-40% slippage on top, that's a huge thing. So if you want that position, that's important. Now, discounts are great. People like stuff like that. That's fine. I'm sure we would have done just fine with that. But I think the real thing that makes this an important thing to talk about, and just by the way, guys, this is not the alpha that we're coming here for tonight. This is the preview to the real alpha. So don't think this is the story. This is like
the announcement of the announcement.
This is nothing. This is nothing, but it's huge. But anyway, the Nope, Fire, Axis, and SolidX communities came together and gave us over $100,000 worth of tokens to airdrop to the top 100 wallets that mint PRIME2PHUX. And we're not looking at a long turnaround here. We're hoping to have 2PHUX available on Monday or thereabouts. It'll be in the next a very short timeline. We're not going to do anything unless it's safe and so on and so forth. So we promise nothing, but we're talking days here. So at which point people will receive the tokens, they'll receive their airdrop. And we're talking, it's a substantial amount of Axis, Fire, SolidX, and Nope tokens for those top wallets. If you scroll down a bit, Axis, it actually shows you the value per wallet that we can see. Oh, it looks like you're okay. Oh, you're at number 100. So if you backtrack, there we go.
I thought I was 100. I don't know.
Okay. So there's the top wallet is getting $4,900 worth of bonus airdrop tokens. So that's not the value or the potential value of the PRIME2PHUX. That's just the value of the Axis, Fire, SolidX, and Nope tokens that wallet will receive on the airdrop if this were to end right now. So it's huge, right? And
Looks like this guy that's the number one's getting about $4,900.
Yeah, and that's updated with live numbers. Jay from Hexpulse Info, he's the guy who runs all the sacrifice pages. He made this page special for us just because he has the skills, even though it's not really a sacrifice. And he's made this so it's updating live what the prices of Axis, Fire, Nope, and SolidX are. So yeah, those are real numbers.
Hey, by the way, those prices. No, I don't want to go too far down that road. But yeah, things are looking good, man. I mean, this is exciting. So Yeah, how many days do these guys have left to get in, and kind of what's the, besides just getting a discounted rate on the prime and getting competing for the top 100 spots to get these bonus coins, what other kind of alpha can you give on this PRIME2PHUX play before we go and we do the big reveal?
Well, the big thing, obviously, is that the PRIME2PHUX token is an excellent yield-bearing token that you have an option to get a discount on. So, which I think something that people don't look at enough when they're looking at like yield farming is your entry price. Your entry price does matter. High APRs also matter, but if you can get a discount in either from the market or with an arrangement like we have here on something that could appreciate in price, and that's your entry, then you're gonna realize the gains on that on top of the yield farming gains that you'll be getting every single day. So I think people should consider that. Now, obviously, everybody's eyes are on the $100,000 worth of solid index tokens. That's pretty exciting. And if you scroll down their axis, I'd like to look at wallet number 100 and what that person is currently receiving if this ended immediately.
Yeah. And just for clarity, I'm not number 100, by the way. I was joking.
Well, if you were, you get $31 worth of tokens, which is not a huge amount of money. But if we look at what that particular person has put into the second, I believe my eyes aren't what they used to be, but I think that says about 110,000 worth of pulse. It's like $5. So that guy's put in $5. He, in theory, I don't promise this, but he's probably going to receive around $5, maybe more worth of PRIME2PHUX. And then he's getting $31 worth of Axis Fire, Nope, and Solid X. So I think he's winning.
How many X's is that?
It's a bunch. Yeah, it's like 7X. This is a 7X.
You're telling me this guy at 100 is going to 7X is $5. That's like better odds than going to the casino.
Oh, much better. Much better. Now, probably he's going to lose his position because we're now live streaming in front of hundreds of people, giving away his
475 to be exact.
Yeah, huge, right? So yeah, he's like pushing index. So like the opportunity is big here.
Yep. Let's see what else we got. We got a question here. So single-sided staking solid X, then earn 2PHUX, then yield farm 2PHUX with something else. You're starting to sniff up the right tree, I think.
Yeah, they're getting the idea. We don't have the whole picture out yet. I think we'll move on to that. But there's going to be some flow charts here. There's going to be some ways to build very interesting yield structure, and PRIME2PHUX is going to be an important part of that. So when you look here and you see this is your opportunity to get PRIME2PHUX, a yield-bearing token at a discount, and to get all the solid index tokens, which we've already kind of hinted are what you're going to need to be in the solid index pool on the PHUX exchange. That's been talked about. That's sort of one of the cool things that's coming up that could be a yield-bearing thing as well. This is a real opportunity to get in on the ground floor, so to speak. And we're looking at a very short timeline here. We have Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the cutoff. So after that, you cannot pre-mint PRIME2PHUX anymore. It'll be done. A couple days after that, you'll be able to mint as much PRIME2PHUX as you want using PRIME2PHUX tokens, but you'll be doing it at the market rate. So, the option is here, and the airdrop is ridiculous, like to the point where the bottom guy is 8xing right now or something like that. So, maybe people should do some math and see if that's something they want to do.
Yellow Cake, you want to chime in? I know it's loud there. Big reveal.
Yeah. What was there a specific question? Sorry.
Oh, not really. Just tell us how much money we're all going to make with the 2PHUX protocol. What kind of API?
Well,
you've been playing around on DevNet a lot, so is there anything you can kind of lean into? And
well, yeah, there is absolutely. There's so much going on right now, guys. I'm got sewing machine leg half the day here. Just excited to spill the beans. But essentially, like I said, we have a tremendous amount of voting power. And when you start actually pressing the buttons and doing the things and realizing that you're in control, like you'd mentioned earlier, Axis, that you'd said something about the founders working to do things. Really, like we bootstrap this protocol, but this is community owned now. And that's a testament to the diversification and the 2PHUX token holder pool. This is a community protocol. the decisions will be made by the token holders. The biggest decision is where the money goes. There's going to be other utilities and use cases built on top. Anybody can build on top of the protocol, but the 2PHUX token as a governance token is the base level. But then building these other use cases that incorporate it are going to be what increases the demand for it. And as the demand increases, so too the APR, and that's what's going to really drive the participation. The protocol itself is designed like a giant flywheel. Again, Fats can maybe get into that, how that basically is designed to encourage people to continually participate in the various aspects, because to get the most robust experience, you want to have your hands in all the different aspects of the protocol. Although it should be noted that you don't need a single protocol token to come in and use the front end and benefit from the large protocol owned votes. You could just come and route your liquidity through the front end and benefit as though you own those votes. But then if you want to further increase the APR and participate in the other revenue sharing aspects, that's where these other tokens come into play, the 2PHUX token, and especially the PRIME2PHUX token in this case. So I'll let Fast expand on that. But,
let me just jump in there. Rumor has it that there's some big brains behind this protocol that are really good at convincing you to do things with your coins that's good for everybody.
Richard's behind this?
Hey, I didn't say that, Crispy. Don't get me into trouble.
Let's get that rumor started, man.
Well, it'd be kind of fun to put some PLSX on there and ramp up the APR. Maybe we could even trickle some ink token out to the. If we include some 2PHUX in the pool, we could trickle out some ink token.
You know, someday maybe we can get more hacks, Tim. I like that idea. So whether it's ink or something else, that's really what my intention is with stuff that I do. I try to get is how am I going to get more hacks?
Every day. Every day. We're getting it every day at 7 p.m. Eastern.
I'm a staker.
All right, guys. Well, this is like a 3-second clip. This is unfinished video, but it's going to be a good way to reveal it. So here we go. What is this thing? What is this 2S?
What happened? What happened?
Well,
it's thick. Yeah, I know, but it's not that.
What were you going to say? You said it's something for hacks?
It looks like a crown.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got 2S.
All right. Well, okay. So what we're doing, guys, is we're putting together a pool. And we thought we deliberated and there was long bloody nights. People were putting cigarettes in each other's eyes, breaking beer bottles over each other's heads, trying to figure out, what is the most optimal route to take in terms of building out the most juicy mousetrap we could ever think of. And what we landed on was, we originally talked about this solid index pool and how that was going to be a thing, right? So you guys have kind of known that. But I think what we landed on was like, well, what happens if we weight the pool in such a way that it really reinforces the whole locking and holding the emissions token? So in the same way that the market is really off sides on ink right now, like look at this chart, guys. This is ink against PLS. It's literally up 543% in 137 days against Pulse. You were better off holding ink all this time and earning in the farms than you were holding Pulse, because it's holding its Pulse value better. So then the question became, well, what if we can turn the 2PHUX emissions token into that as well by locking even more up the protocol by making you guys go out and pair it with the solid index? And so what we landed on was this 60% solid index tokens evenly distributed with 33% of the pool as 2PHUX and 7% as Pulse. So the rationale behind this is you're going to need exposure to each of the solid index tokens, which is going to bond them together and create massive momentum as the bull market kicks up. And part of that demand driver is going to be the shortage that's required to pair. And it's a little over 50% when you're comparing it to the 60% of the pool that's required here from the solid index. 50% of that, 33% in this case, or over that, 33% of that, 60%, right, is coins that's getting locked up. And again, a lot of us are going to have to buy this off the market, because think about this. Even the top sacrificers don't have 2FUX, because we have to lock it in order to get the extra boosted APR farms. So the whales are going to be locked up on this. And then in addition to that, we're all going to need to have to buy up the price of 2FUX in order to get into the super high boosted APR on this farm. And the 7% of Pulse, all that's really doing there is that's the gateway, right? Pulse gateway to every other pair, every other DEX on Pulse chain. So you basically create a choke point where you force all the economic energy through this tiny little porthole in Pulse. And then you keep the carrot on the stick, which is the 2FUX, which is what you're getting. Part of your rewards is getting paid in 2FUX. And then you can then use those rewards to compound back into the pool if you so choose. And it was, like I said, it wasn't my idea. And at first I scoffed at the idea of setting it up in this way, in this ratio. And then I was like, well, that would be awesome. You're just going to drive more demand for 2FUX, which is going to push the price up. And then you're going to need more solid index coins to pair. It's going to drive those prices up. And then you're going to get rewarded more 2FUX, which you're going to be able to compound back in. And what I think is going to happen is it's going to create a really big short squeeze on anybody that's sacked that wants to take that. There's a 30% hit. If they take those 2FUX coins up front, they are going to end up 30% less 2FUX than the guys that locked for the 16-week period. And they don't get voting rights. So it's really disincentivizing bad behavior and really emphasizing good behavior, and that we can all win together by taking this path forward.
Totally. So what are we calling this fancy pool you got here, Axis?
This is the 2 solid pool.
Nice. I like it.
And so when the time comes and 2FUX is live, this will be ready for you guys. Hopefully, I don't know if Yellow Cake can comment on gauges, like when we could expect a gauged pool and all this stuff, or if we're there at that point yet. Any kind of things you can add that way and kind of give us a timeline?
Yeah. So everybody asks, when are you guys launching? When are you guys launching? And it's hard for me because we are launching, and we are the most complex protocol on Pulse Chain. And there's a lot of contracts and a lot of things that have to happen in certain orders. So part of the procedure is doing these types of things, getting the gauge pools ready, getting the APRs to spool up. So essentially, we've got our main pools already like in the queue to get gauged. For that, when we launch, we're going to have a place for people to apply the votes. You asked for some alpha access, and part of the thing about testing and deploying in the quality control aspect is we have to test to make sure all the things are working. So people might find a little bit of a surprise in the Nope Pulse pool for this next coming week, because I had to test the functionality of the applying some of the votes. So dropped a little bit extra votes there in that pool, just as a testament to what 2FUX protocol can do for community pools that align their values, and that'll choose to accommodate or include the 2FUX token in there. This was an interesting phase in deployment, because like I said, there's so many things that have to happen in sync. The deployment of the liquidity pools, the gauge requests, the launching of the tokens, opening of the front end UI. So there's a lot of things happening in the background, and everything's kind of culminating to basically finishing this phase with the PRIME2PHUX bootstrapping phase, which is a hugely important phase. Like I said, we were already at 29.5% of the entire voting power of Phux.io. And that is continually growing as people are participating in this bootstrapping phase. And that's going to benefit the whole ecosystem for the months and years to come, because essentially 2FUX will be the place for yield on Pulse Chain, because there's going to be basically like you used a good word there, Axis, with social aggregation. Essentially, by working together, we're all achieving more, and we're encouraged to align our values together and focus on winning this bull market.
Awesome, guys. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And if there's any last comments before we take off.
Yeah, I got one. Is that okay?
Nail them.
Go for
Hey,
it.
so Fast Abdul, you're telling me that you're giving away free money.
Giving away your free money, actually. Thanks for that.
Wow, that really hurt. Turn that around. But a lot of people be like, what is this all about? And I think maybe some people just don't understand, or maybe we should just clear it up. This is, you can consider 2PHUX as a
Mhm.
business, quote unquote, exchange. This is, besides the initial setup Yellow Cake's talking about. We're talking about customer acquisition.
Yep.
All right. It's not
And
about just
retention.
yeah, right, and retention. So I mean, that's what's going on, guys. That's why all this is possible, and why you can get these additional tokens, and why Fast Abdul keeps talking about the community working together and having alignment, right? Because it's customer acquisition, and it really does matter where you vote. I mean, we vote
Oh,
with
yeah.
our feet,
Totally.
and in the crypto we vote with our where we decide to do our LP.
Yep.
Right.
I think the one thing that Yellow Cake mentioned that, like, I think people need to understand how big a deal it is we currently, before the protocol is even like publicly available, it's kind of launched, we have 29% of the available voting power on Aura Finance, the one that we forked directly from. When we started looking at them like 11 months ago, they had around 35%, and now they're at 65%. We're starting, and they've been running for almost 4 years now. We're starting so much higher. The power that we have by Christmas time this year is going to be ridiculous in this ecosystem. And when you look at the two solid pool, and that you have basically 5 communities now, all of which have substantial voting power in the PHUX ecosystem via 2PHUX. Like, there's going to be so much economic energy directed at making sure the yields on this pool are fantastic, and that people are incentivized to provide liquidity, that it's going to be huge. And the fact that we've made this bottleneck with the 2PHUX token, making it a requirement to participate in the pool, it really makes all the difference. And that was like, I didn't get it when I first looked at it either, but once Yellow Cake explained it to me, it's like, this is where the crazy APRs are going to come from and be maintained, right? Because when you stake that 2 solid LP token via the 2PHUX front end, you're getting paid in 2 different tokens. You're getting PHUX tokens just like you would if you'd done it on the PHUX exchange, except for you're going to get the potential 2.5 times boost. And then you're getting paid in 2PHUX tokens, which is going to be a huge part of the APR. And especially with an arrangement like this, where the people who receive those 2PHUX tokens, they're most likely to turn them around and put them back into this LP pair, because it'll be an extremely rare, valuable token. So I think we're going to be in a situation where the 2PHUX token is going to be a rare component that's required to participate in the 2 solid LP pool. And that's going to drive everything up. And it's going to balloon out to other parts of the ecosystem. Other people will be able to benefit from what we've done here. Other people will be able to use the 2PHUX front end to stake their LP tokens on things like Maximus DAO pairs that are on the PHUX exchange that are engaged. And they're going to be able to, excuse me, they're going to be able to take in some of that economic energy as well. So I think, this is kind of a turning point for the Pulse chain. I think meme coins are still a thing. Yeah, we're still in meme season, guys. But like the flight to things of value is starting to happen. And I think we really are at a bottom point for things like the PHUX token. I think it's going to go the way of the BBC token, the Inc token. This stuff is going to moon, and it's at a serious down point. And this is perfect timing for technical reasons, as well as other reasons, that this is the right time to get into something like this. So I'm really pleased and thankful that the Solid Index community decided to include us in this pool. And I see a huge future in working together with such powerful partners, all with the same sort of goal towards the community. So thanks, guys.
Yep, that's amazing. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing this launch go live. I'm going to pull you guys down and just wait in the back for a second. I got a couple announcements, and then we'll close out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You bet.
Stay crispy.
All right. Last things, guys. Two things. Number one, DBank initiative. If you're not on DBank and you want to go share your swag and get eyes on Pulse Chain, go check out dbank.com. True Moxie's giving away DBank Web3 IDs like they're candy. So just, DM him anytime and he'll be happy to hand those out. Trustless Yields kind of started that initiative, making a tweet publicly, and he's one of the top people on the leaderboard over there. It's a way to connect with other huge players in DeFi across many different chains. We're headed into a multi-chain world. Go over to DBank and share the love with the Pulse Chain community over there. We're starting to grow. And second thing is, please go check out the Minect app. Gary, Funding Jim, Brandon Davis, aka Rags to Riches, and brother KG from Internet Money. They're all on there, and they're in the top 10 right now. And they need your help and support to get to the top of the leaderboard, to be sitting down with the Patrick Bet-Davids and the Donald Trumps and influential people, and the kind of money that we're looking for from the outside. And if you go do that, I am happy to announce that I'm going to give away $10 of Axis token to anybody that goes on there to the Minect app, Minnect Minect app, and does and asks a question. So like it'll cost you like $10. You sign up for an account, costs you $10 to send a question to Rags, or $10 to send a question to KG, or $10 to send a question to Gary. And if you do that, for everyone you do, I will give away an airdrop equal in the amount that you spent. So if you do that, make sure you mention that I sent you, or that this is for the Axis airdrop when you ask the question, and then we'll work it out in the DMs. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I hope that you guys find this exciting. This is a turning point chain. This is the end of the meme coin phase and the beginning of the utility phase for Pulse Chain. And these APRs are going to be the thing that's going to drive that forward. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.